Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Let's Play Sonic Advance 2! Being as we've unlocked a couple characters by now, we've already looked at Cream, and we just recently unlocked Tails, it's time to get on with showing off his particular part of this game, and that being pretty much the exact same parts that we've been... Anyway, how he plays compared to the other characters, I should say. Starting with Ice Paradise. Another interesting sort of level theme. A combination of an ice level and a city level? Yeah. But yeah, Tails is pretty much what you expect. The same sort of general moveset as everyone else with the R-trigger movement, those sort of things. He can still do the tail swipe attack from the previous game, and he can, of course, fly. A little bit longer, well, I think he can... As far as flight time goes, I think Tails is about twice as much as Cream the Rabbit. I think. But yeah, he still does all that, and he's still pretty good at it, as he always was. Plus, he can boost, like everyone else in this game. That's slow. Of course, I approach it rather slowly so that I can get back up there, so that I can continue on the path that I'm on, so that I can collect the 7 SP special rings, whatever you want to call them. And instead of going that way, we're going this way, because this is where more special rings are. Again, this is a case of... It's genuinely not a case of, oh, if we just go down this path, the obvious direction that the game is trying to direct us towards, then we should be able to reach the next special ring. No, this game doesn't want you to think linearly. In fact, me thinking linearly here is working against me. So I gotta get up here. And that's, you know, I respect a game for asking you to think outside the box. You know, if you want to get the special collectibles, you've got to explore, but there's loop-de-loops everywhere, there's loop-de-loops, there's grind rails, there's springs and dash panels and jump pads all over the place. There is... there's Tails up the animation. He just falls asleep. What is this, narcolepsy season? Come on, Tails. You got a job to do. You got to get back up there, and I'm glad that you can get back up there since you have the ability to fly. And it is useful in this context, as I do require it in order to be able to get back up here if I happen to fall down instead of following the path. Or, well, I didn't not follow the path intentionally. I just happened to fall, and it's, once again, a thing that I am glad that there are characters like Tails who can take advantage of their abilities to be more reliable in their explorative capabilities, but I'm not really taking advantage of those explorative capabilities as often as I am doing what I would do with Sonic or Cream or... You know, it's just another case of I'm running real fast. And I'm sure that's what everyone will like out of a Sonic game, and I'm glad that this is a Sonic game that can do that without being completely dumb about it. You know, that's why I like the way the boost functions in this game. But at the same time, we are following into two mentalities colliding at once here. And I keep harping on about this because, you know, despite the fact that I'm making this look easy by collecting all the special rings when I do and getting access to the Chaos Emeralds, this took research. You know, I don't think I've ever been able to get all the Chaos Emeralds in this game ever without a guide. Because there is no way, with the way this game is structured, that I would ever have the idea to follow some of the paths that you have to get into in order to get the special rings. Again, you could say it's just be rewarding to the player, but there's just so much in this game where it's asking you to go fast, putting dash panels, dash pads, jump pads, springs and whatnot in front of you. It just doesn't add up. And I don't think that comes across in this gameplay footage because, again, this is post-commentary specifically because I don't want to waste time on this game because this game wastes so much time. That, and there were just a number of things that, as we'll get into later in this part, really agitated me in getting this project done in the first place. But anyway, that's another Chaos Emerald collected, and despite the fact that this is the 4th Chaos Emerald that I have collected on screen, I did have to recollect the previous 3 emeralds with tails in order to get to this point in order to assure you there's some consistency here. When the true fact is, there isn't, as I stated in the previous part. You still have to collect the Chaos Emeralds with each and every single character. You can't just pick up one with tails, then maybe go on to the next level as Knuckles or Amy or whoever, and then be able to collect the next one. There's just so much that, despite having so much speed in this game, still manages to completely hold you up for arbitrary time-constraining reasons. Like, this game couldn't afford to be like all the previous classic Sonic games and allow you to collect the Chaos Emeralds in a leisurely way. No. We have to put arbitrary limits on everything. Make sure that you're only collecting the Chaos Emeralds here, or only collecting 1 or 2 there, and not allow you to play as Super Sonic during regular gameplay. Because yes, that is, again, another problem with this game. We're not going to be getting Super Sonic until the very end for the ultimate super final boss thing. Because that just seems to be the way modern Sonic design mentality seems to be wanting to take it. It's just, you know, like, up until, I believe, Sonic Colors, playing as Super Sonic in regular stages, nah, that's just too broken. That or too boring, I'm not sure which. Although, considering the sort of speeds you're likely to achieve on your own without Super Sonic, I don't know. I mean, it would be nice to have Super Sonic in a game like this, and it would also be nice to be able to achieve Super Sonic, or Super Tails, or Super Knuckles, or Super whatever in this game without having to go through so much trouble of going through every single stage, every single act to get 1 emerald. I mean, every zone. It's like we have 7 zones in this game and you can only get 1 Chaos Emerald in each zone. We couldn't just have, you could collect 1 emerald in 1 act and another emerald in another act. And, you know, I'm not talking about these bosses and their whole running boss thing. Like, from a conceptual standpoint, there is something that I can gather behind, yeah, let's do a running style boss where your character is running, because that's what Sonic's about, you know. Why sit still and fight someone who's just swinging a wrecking ball back and forth between 2 platforms? That's not fast, that's not Sonic. But at the same time, there's so much about this that's just plain irritating because you can't get anything done quickly. Like, that's really the most you can get out of old classic Sonic-style Sonic games, is that while you weren't moving fast, you could still do things fast. But here, you're moving fast, but you're not doing things very fast, because the bosses like to waste your time for arbitrary reasons. Moving on to the next zone, Sky Canyon. This is where the BS starts to get pretty sufficient. Because you know, it's not that we bumped into a lot of them before, even though they were there, but bottomless pits are very prevalent in this game, and while there were quite a few in the previous level that I managed to avoid, this place is ripe with them. As you can probably gather by the fact that it's called Sky Canyon. You're in the sky, but It also appears to be on a floating island. I wonder if that's gonna have any significance. But yeah, playing this live, this level in particular, yeah, the bottomless pit problem was, it bothered me. Also, watch at the path that I'm following here. It's just like, what logic is there to going up there and finding that special ring and then coming back up this one and then dropping down backwards in order to get to the next one? What is the logic there? I don't know! And who would think to do that, considering that this game is driving you forward all the time? Also, yeah, hidden walls, that totally helps. God. I don't know how you're supposed to get all the Chaos Emeralds here without a guide. It's just absolutely beyond me where the logic was when designing the levels the way you do for a game like this, and then just be like, we'll put the rings here, 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 and there so that the explorative types will actually find them. Well, what's encouraging the explorative types to go to these places? The necessity to find these rings. Well, why would they want to go down the opposite way that they just came from in order to get to the next ring? Shut up, just put it there. I mean, granted, there are probably ways to get to those rings that are slightly more logically fast, but, you know, I followed a guide in order to get here. I'm not following a guide to get here because it just, I wouldn't be able to think of these things otherwise. I don't think the game encourages me to make these sort of decisions in order to get to all these places, especially in levels like Sky Canyon, where it's just nothing but you falling down in the bottomless pits all over the place. And I'm sure we're gonna get at least some of that during the course of watching this playthrough. I should also mention that you do not want to die while searching for SB rings. Or special rings, whatever. I keep juggling between the two. You don't want to die, because if, you know, one thing about this game's design is that every level has exactly one checkpoint. Well, maybe not exactly one checkpoint, but levels are divided basically into two halves, with the checkpoint marking the beginning of the second half. Now, the checkpoint could be on multiple different levels of multiple different levels within the act, is what I should probably say. But the point still remains, you only have one checkpoint. If you die at any point during the stage, you lose every single special ring that you collected. If you happen to cross if you haven't crossed the checkpoint by the time that you've done that, before you've done that, then you're sent all the way back to the very beginning of the stage and have to start it over. At that point, at least you could go back down the same path that you were going to collect the rings that you did, but if you did happen to hit a checkpoint, that means you have to backtrack to collect the rings that you no longer have. But you may not be able to do that because, again, the level design wants you going forward. How are you going to go back when in order to go back, you have to scale up a wall or climb up to the very top of a place that you can no longer get to because the level's not designed for you to do any backtracking. Again, there's so much in this game that's counterintuitive to the explorative nature that it desires of you in order to get these special... in order to get these special rings. So really, if you want to play... My best way to say about this is that I hope you're not going after the key. Ah, God, I hate that part. I hate that part. That jump that I just made? Yeah. If I hadn't slowed down there or made the jump that I did... Ah! Bottomless pits.
3, 2,
oh, wait a minute. I did not edit that out. Oops. I thought I edited around that. Oh, God. That's poor. I'm sorry, folks. I used a save state there. Because, honestly, screw trying to play this game in a consistent and logical way. Like it were normal. I just... Especially in levels that are so bottomless pit heavy like this. You know, this is... You know, I had problems... God, I said you know twice. And now I said it a third time. Ah! I had a problem with dimps back in the first game. Their whole design philosophy getting more absurd with bottomless pits and gotcha moments and whatnot. And yeah, this game is still rife with a lot of that. It just feels worse because of the design philosophy of go fast, boost to win sort of nonsense. Like, why? Freaking why? And here is a pretty obnoxious point of contention right here. Look at how deep this pit is. Why does a bottomless pit need to force you to go down that far before it kills you? By the time that I am pretty much done and there's no way to save myself, the game should just be like, you know what? Fine. Let's stop you there. But no. I have to go down 1,000 freaking feet before it decides, okay, you've reached the death plane. You're done. It's freaking stupid. Like, if I pass the point where I can't save myself, then why am I still falling? Ugh. But that's that, and now we're on to the boss, which has a different theme for some... Oh! That's the reason! Knuckles! This is Angel Island, after all, but what is he doing in what looks to be one of Eggman's machines? Also, what kind of machine even is this? A freaking wheel with a giant hand on it. And my god, I hate this. That hand is one of the most obnoxious freaking things. Because you wouldn't believe it, but that thing's hitbox, it can crush you. Like, a lot of the reason I'm staying back is because I don't know exactly how that hand's going to react in any given situation. Because its hitbox can very much, like it won't always, but it can instantly kill you. And my god, it has a lot of reach, as you saw there. And that's why I'm staying so far back here and waiting for the hand to do its thing before I move forward because I don't want to risk getting crushed and having to start this all over again. Also, the hitbox on that little cockpit thing is difficult enough to try and hit, because I can't hit the side of it. I have to hit the top. And there we go. Ugh. Again, I like the idea that you're running, but unlike old games where you weren't doing much running during the boss, you were at least doing it fast. This is wasting too much time, you knucklehead. You know, the strangest thing just happened. You let Eggman dupe you again! Leave me alone! Whatever, see ya, Knuckles. Hey! I won't let Eggman get away with this. You can now play as Knuckles. Why you would want to play as that idiot is beyond me.
Shut up!
But we're going to. As we enter Techno Base, another, I guess, unique level trope, but not one that I appreciate near as much as Music Plant. Also, that's his animation. He starts juking and jiving on the spot. And unlike the previous zones where I went for all of the special rings in the first act, I am going to wait until the second act on this one because, wouldn't you know, I have that one memorized to a T for reasons I'm sure we'll get into, because the Chaos Emerald special stages are generally kind of easy, all things considered, in terms of what you're actually doing. It's just like, I rarely ever have to play them more than once in order to unlock the Chaos Emerald, because the general idea and being able to do so is, while it can be a bit problematic, fairly easy once you get down the general concept. You know, you collect rings in rows, in long lines, in order to... Yeah, there's him climbing, and well, not climbing, gliding, which is something he can still do, but it's very slow! Which is why you're not going to be using it often. I was almost thinking it was going to fall into a pit there. But yeah, I kinda don't appreciate this level idea. Like, I enjoy a good Technic inside the computer trope level every once in a while, but there's something about the aesthetics here that just don't work for me, or maybe it's just the pulsating lights in the background that constantly make it difficult to even look at. Ugh. Can we stop with the flashing lights? I mean, I'm not epileptic, and I hope there aren't any epileptics watching, because, you know, this could be a problem for you. But that background is just so distracting. Ow. Trying to think what to talk about next. I don't know. Yeah, back onto the subject of the special stages. They're usually pretty easy to get down. You don't really have to, with some exceptions. You can probably get all of the emeralds the first time that you actually play the stage. The special stage associated with this zone, for me, it was... I hated it. Which is a lot of the reason why I never memorized a lot of the ring paths. That's something to go back into, collecting the specific paths that you need to go on in order to collect the special rings, in order to get access to a special stage. I haven't really memorized them, that's why I used a guide in order to do that. But for this level, this one level in particular, I memorized the path to a T, because I had to do this so many times because collecting the Chaos Emerald, the special stage, as we'll get into once I get to it, associated with Technobase. I don't know what else to say other than it confused me to no end, to a point where it took me ages to be able to even get close to collecting the Chaos Emerald for this particular stage, for this particular zone. But it's something that I had to do so often back on an original cartridge of Sonic Advance 2 that I memorized to a T the very specific path that I have to go through in order to get all 7 special rings in this particular act. I memorized them in this act, not the first act. I didn't have to have a guide for this one because it is carbon scored into my memory because of the trouble, the endless trouble that I had collecting this particular Chaos Emerald. And remember, as I said in the first part, and as I keep reiterating, collecting the Chaos Emeralds in this game is not a case of one character can collect any emerald and it goes into the pool like it did in Sonic Advance 1. No. You have to collect all the Chaos Emeralds with each character in order to unlock various things, which we will get into in the final part of this. This is going to be a short LP, all things considered, and this is the special stage that I was talking about. Now, generally there is some sort of logic to the ring paths when you pass through them in order to start creating the ring bonuses you need in order to increase the number of rings you get from rings, you know, the multipliers. The thing about this stage is that there's so many areas where the ring lines crisscross with each other in ways that just never make sense. I could never figure out the specific path that was the most optimal for this stage because none of the paths, the way the paths crisscross with each other, never makes sense in trying to connect between one to the other. It just confused me for so long, and I just bumbled through this the best I could, even during this particular recording, and only barely managed to get the Chaos Emerald, as you were going to see as we go along, because I'm just wandering around. I can't memorize this crap. Like, what's the best path? What's the best route? I don't have enough time to stand around and look at things, because Zero's chasing me around as well. You know, we've got dash panels and jump panels all over the place. I'd rather hit the dash panels than the jump panels, because at least they get me further away from Zero. The jump panels, they'll usually take me so high, and I don't know if I'm ever going to hit the rings that I intend to hit when I hit them. But I'm down to 15 seconds. Can I do it? Well, I've already spoiled the fact that I can. But it is, like I said, going to be clutch. If I can just get more 5 rings real quickly. 4, 3, 2... Oh, God. And you have to do that with every single character in order to get all the Chaos Emeralds. And now for the boss. This fucking boss. Like, I posted a video about this when I was trying to do the recording for this initially, when I was going to do this as a live commentary. You saw the trouble I went through if you saw that video. I cannot even begin. I hate this boss. I hate this boss so much. Like, this was the boss that stopped me when I first played this game. For ages, I could not beat this thing with any character except Cream, because she could just cheese it. This boss infuriates me to no end. Like, you see what I have to deal with. There's platforms that switch, they become rotate, the platforms generate spikes sometimes, and it's unsafe to get on. I can't hit the pod from the side, and then he shoots these 3 teeny tiny little projectiles that I can barely see. I hate that boss. I fucking hate that boss. That is officially the worst boss in the entire game. Bar none. I hate that. But with that out of the way, I think we are just about done for now with this part of Sonic Advance 2. So thank you absolutely everyone for watching. As always, you can follow up on my Twitter, Instagram, and Discord in the description below. RCFS, and out.